Hey, what's up, flooring family? Welcome to the Huddle, your weekly playbook where when Paul's gone, I don't know what to say because I don't have it in front of me. But thanks for joining us today. Paul is on a plane on his way back from one of the conventions, Fuse, maybe. I think Ashlyn said. So hoping that he's doing all right in the air there. And it's just gonna be us today. Unless you want to join in, let me know. We can send a link and you can get in here and start talking to us. We're going to be talking about breaking barriers and supporting women and minorities in flooring. So this week is actually Women in Construction Week. So that is why we are talking about this today. And we actually Preferred Flooring had some. Apparently, there's the wrong title on LinkedIn too, but I didn't make it. Blame that one on Ashlyn. Preferred Flooring had a post today, just highlighting Crystal and how amazing she is in the industry. She she's out on a project right now over at a church that we've been working on for a while. And our niece Ada and I went over there and, took some videos and some pictures of her just because how dedicated she is to her craft. And we wanted to showcase that because she's just awesome. And not only her, there's plenty of other women. I mean, Ashlyn behind the scenes here is, whether she knows it or not, she's a huge part of the industry as well, just with the things that she does, even though she never wants to be on camera.
It's sometimes it's hard
You're gonna have to
to
turn
get
your
her
gain up
to get
again. It sounds horrible
sometimes
again.
no idea. There, is it loud enough?
No, a little bit louder. Got
Boom, boom, boom.
that sounds better. There we go.
Oh, that's way up, way up. Got that ADD microphone here that doesn't work
All
the
right.
same way.
Kevin said that he can join, so I'm gonna send him a link here. Got Jorge, Rollin, Jesusan, all saying hi. What's up, guys? Let me get this link sent over to this guy. So what were you about to say before I told you to turn your gain up?
I said it's hard to get her to commit to try to even come on and say hello to anybody before we even go on air. She's like, "Peace," before even put the 2 minute countdown on.
But, she's a big part of the flooring industry, whether she knows it or not.
I wonder how many other flooring companies or just construction in general have women in a leadership position, and if so, what are the challenges that everybody else faces, and what can we do better as an industry to be more inviting to that?
Well, Elaine is on here. She's a strong leader in the industry, always doing things, holding these week-long classes for CFI. She's a great trainer.
She's definitely dedicated, very involved. Um, there's a lot of passion that comes out of her teachings. So if you guys are lucky enough to sit down and have her as a trainer or certifier, yeah, count your blessings. Uh, she probably loves the industry and everyone else she teaches more than more than what she lets you guys believe. I'll tell you that just from the conversations I've had with her. Were you able to send that over to Kev?
Yeah, I texted it over to him already. See if he gets it.
Sorry, a little bit of a delay on a lot of this today, guys. We went in a scramble mode once we knew Paul wasn't going to be here.
So even, the other day, we took Crystal and had an employee highlight. So she's been in the industry for 13 years, and then it wasn't until really we got her and pushed her over to compete in ties is where she really started, I want to say, her leadership journey, even though she was on it before then. But that's kind of what pushed her into actually realizing how big of a part of the industry she is, even though she didn't realize it.
Well, nobody ever really takes into consideration. Let me take that back. When you're trying to do something and you're on a path, you don't. There's not a lot of people who openly say I want to be in a leadership role or openly um, attack a leadership role. A true leadership role is kind of bestowed upon you, and that's kind of what it was with her. Is that her hand skills and her people skills went hand in hand, and that's what put her in that position. I would say is more of a natural role than leadership role. But you don't. Leaders are humble when it comes to stuff like that, right? They'll take it in stride as it's given to them, and that's kind of what she did. And there's a lot of comparisons in the construction period. A lot of the gentlemen, a lot of the women, a lot of people who are in a leadership role didn't necessarily ask for it. It was kind of like, oh, well, you did that already. Okay, no problem. Well, here you go. Can you handle more people? Can you handle a bigger job? Can you handle more complex projects? And some people rise to the occasion. Some people don't. Um, it's just kind of my little 2 cents on it. But
Well, like Elena says, the passion comes from the family business that she grew up in herself, and then through CFI, and just I think there's a that turning point in everyone where even Crystal says, you start something out of a necessity. We all started out of a necessity, and then we grew into the roles that we're in now. Um, Almost not by choice. It's you got to do something and then roll with it. But we're all here for a reason, and I think it's just to celebrate the women that are in the industry, because in construction as a whole, women only make up about 10% of people in construction, right? So to be in a leadership position, I mean, look at Deb DeGraff. She's in our hometown over here at
mhm.
DeGraff Interiors, and the things that she's been doing with being part of the board of the FCEF, and her actually inviting people over to her space saying, hey, you can hold classes here, let's go. That's huge in the industry. So thank you, Deb DeGraff, for doing that. We got Kevin on.
What's going on, gentlemen,
What's up,
ladies?
Kev?
What's
How you
going
doing
on, bro?
today?
You might have to
You
kill
know, I
that
feel
light
like I
behind
feel
you.
like a novice. I was making some sample boards up for a show in my garage, and I was cleaning my patch trowel. And as I was thinking about how darn sharp those things get, I mean, literally thinking about it as I sliced through 3 layers of rag right into my finger. Yeah. So other than
So
that,
lesson here is get a brush, not a rag.
I
Or a
was
sponge. I think QEP sells those.
I only had
Uh,
500 right above me, but
oh my goodness,
yeah, I wasn't thinking, But anyway,
that's that comfort level, right? You get comfortable with the tools that you work with every day. You forget how dangerous they actually are. Even something as
or
simple as a trowel.
or it's just been a while since I cleaned a patch trowel, right? One of the two.
And
So,
Rollins says that every every installer's wife is part of the industry, whether they realize it or not.
You know what? He's absolutely correct. I didn't even think about that, but yes.
I heard you mention Elena. I was actually had the pleasure to do a class with her last week, and she's an amazing, talented lady in this industry for sure.
She's a stud.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I don't think that people realize what they'd be doing without her. Like it's just to take a week block of time all the time to teach a class, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think I don't necessarily think she's making a career of it, right? But the industry's definitely um, reaching out to her a lot more because of how passionate she is.
You know, speaking of other ladies in the industry, Leslie Del
Dude, I
Pozo,
was gonna bring Leslie up too, man. That she's a staple right now.
she is
I
an
don't think you can
absolute
go
she's
anywhere
an
without
absolute
seeing her.
all-star. She's got us working with all sorts of different individuals and unions, and we're going to be doing Build Your Future event here coming up pretty quick.
Awesome.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but
Is that the one down
this one's in
in Kansas?
this one's
Well,
in
they do it
St.
everywhere,
Louis.
right?
they they're all over the place now, but originally I believe it started in Missouri, and that's the one
Okay.
we go to. But I think this will be our fourth year, and we see probably over 4,000 students that come through, just bust in to get educated about different trades and things that are out there other than college after high school. I mean, it's perfect timing
Right.
for these young men and women, and we'll do seams all day, right? We'll have them cutting seams and putting seams together, just give them a little taste of, the art and creativity in the industry. And I tell you, the girls, speaking of the ladies in the industry, the girls seams are always better than the guys seams
Yeah.
at Built for Future,
The,
hands down.
because because guys are built for a competitive level. Who gets done the fastest? They're not necessarily looking at the detail. You know what I mean? And women are so detail oriented that it is kind of it's hard to compete with someone who looks at the fine detail right away their first time versus someone who looks at let me get it done as fast as possible and win.
They have a finesse to it, right? They really do.
Yeah.
It's just a natural act for them to mend things, where guys are really good at the demolition part of the industry. I feel they just want to rip into it and let some frustration out. The women installers, there's a very beautiful way they go about it, and it's a tender mending of the floor, right? And some of the best seams for sure.
I got
Yeah.
a question. What does it take for one of those events to be held? What are you looking for as far as like a venue or something like that?
I have a contact I can give you guys, because they are popping all up over other areas, and the more we can get them, the more people we can educate about the flooring industry and how it's a lucrative path in life. And um, I can get you a contact for that though. But I know Nate Hall's on here. He did one in Wisconsin last year. I was booked that week, so I was kind of hoping to do one in my own state, but usually we'll tag along with another flooring place that has they'll have like a booth there, right? They already got something set up, and we can come in as a training organization or just individuals trying to spread the word, and bring in some material and some tools and have some fun.
Gotcha. I'll look into that.
And what was the name of that again?
Build your
Build your
future.
future.
Build Your Future. I'm gonna look it up right now.
So I'm a little surprised that your sister's not on this episode, since it's Women in Flooring Week, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't. She declined the invite. Actually, I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now.
Another lady I'd like to mention, since we're talking about it. I talked to Beth Miller today, this morning, for a little
Oh yeah,
bit.
for sure.
I mean, you want to talk to somebody that didn't grow up in the flooring industry, such as say, but man, she knows everything there is about it now. Um, Really great job with just educating herself on the stuff that she's covering out there, getting to know the people, having the right conversations, asking the right questions. She's great to work with. She's great to work with.
Dude, I didn't realize that. I don't think she has like a background prior to her role in being in flooring, right? And the amount of knowledge that she's gained just hanging around everyone is crazy because, we've been on meetings with her and the way that she talks, she knows more about the industry than a lot of the installers out there.
Well, you kind of think about it. She's at more educational events than any of us, because I mean that's her job to cover this stuff, and she gets more knowledge than most of the installers out there.
That's what I mean.
So,
And it's
but
not
yeah,
something that she has to know, like all the technical stuff. It's just things that she catches on to and grasps. And I guess that's part of the maybe her not being in it for so long because the guys that have that mentality of this is how I've done it, right? So this is how I'm always going to do it. And she has that fresh perspective as to where you can tell her something and it's like, okay, that's locked in. She doesn't
no
know
doubt.
anything else now.
But she's been great. She's been great.
Ooh, sorry about all the extra
So
coughing there,
at these
guys.
Build My Future events, do you see like a lot of diversity as well? Like a lot of more women and minorities coming through there, or
I
how does
mean,
that look?
they're busting entire schools in around that age, right? Where they're transitioning from high school to I got to get a job or take a career path at college, whether it be a 2 year, 4 year, whatever. Um, the nice thing about this thing, it's just all trades. So you'll see, as far as women and men that come, I mean, it's
It's an
I don't
entire
think it's
school,
optional.
so
I think these guys are
yeah,
getting bussed in. So, whatever, 50-50 or whatnot. But, there's everything there. There's welding there, electricians, plumbers, just about everything you can think of. And, it's just nice
So
to
it's
go.
like a career fair, not
It's a
just
career fair for the trades. So,
gotcha.
most likely you could probably get a job with the people that are out there trying to recruit.
said that Beth used to work on cars, so if you need your car fixed, she can handle it.
Nice.
It's more than I can do. I don't work on cars. I
I
just work
dabble.
on resilient flooring. That's where you call me.
So how's business
I
going
dabble.
in Michigan, guys? Everything going good up there? Seeing a pickup?
Um, I don't
Um,
I don't think we've seen a slowdown. I think we've been pretty
yeah,
fortunate compared to some of the other contractors that I've talked to, even the bigger ones in town. We were at a meeting for there's a soccer stadium going up here. Um, they're getting ready. That one is getting ready to bid, so I went to one of their pre-bids, and two of the other bigger guys in town, and they both said the same thing. They seen a huge slowdown, but at the same time, like it was slow in the field, but it's been very steady in the office as far as people wanting work done. So there's going to
yeah.
be a point where everyone is super busy again, but you kind of plan for that during the summertime every year, I think.
We've had a couple lulls in the schedule, right? But that doesn't mean that we're slow because when there's nothing out there to install, if we have a couple of days of, let's call it fluff days, then the guys are in here getting some practice in and working on some hand skills or working with materials that they're not necessarily comfortable with, just to kind of get that experience under their belt a little bit. So it's hard to say slow time, right? Like, 'cause there's always something to do, dude. There's
And
always
Yeah.
something to do.
And if you follow like social medias, there's been a lot of people on there that were talking about how slow they were. We were getting calls, on a daily basis from installers around the area like I got nothing, like can you throw me anything? And it's like, man, I need to keep my guys busy. They're our number one priority. And by guys, I don't mean just guys. I mean our people.
Do you
There's a
guys
lot.
have any? Do you guys have any training scheduled out there in the near future?
We were supposed to. There was CFI was supposed to come out here, and there was only three people signed up. But that's where we always tell people that it's an investment, and you got to take advantage of these things in the slow time, and that's what people were not doing. Like it was. a perfect time for people to get in there and up their skills, and it just didn't happen.
Right. And I would say that Josiah made a visit down here a couple of weeks ago at some of the or one of the local companies, and definitely mentioned something there. And it was nice that he did because the owner, who's a friend of mine, it brought awareness back to him the importance of the training. And there was a lot of young guys that were there doing the. They had a training with one of the local distributors, and Josiah was one of the gentlemen offering the training there, and he had mentioned CFI on his way out, and it always sparks interest, but the follow through has got to be is got to be intentional, and I think that hearing it from another installer or another company might not always resonate as well with some of the business owners, but it's we're trying to make an industry better, and I think that he kind of understood that now versus when we were trying to schedule some trainings here before, where there's always the worry that, oh, you're going to get a training, come in here, and then my people are going to be available to you. We're trying to make them better for you too. I don't really care how you run it. We just want to make our industry better overall, and having more consistent installs out there makes us all look better, not just one company or the other. Makes it easier for people to look at um, the purchase of material and labor as an investment versus just a purchase.
So I want to go through a few of these comments, right? Rollin says that he has a CTI certification happening down in Florida, 13 ladies going through it. And I've seen it on social media. It's a big deal. This took an entire year to plan to where it's an all woman certification.
That is fantastic.
Talk about, being comfortable, right? There's no other way to be more comfortable as a woman in the industry than to do it with all other women, especially when you're talking about very talented women, right? Because that leads me back to Elena. Let's do this one first. When she was, she finds male and female students learn differently and are equally detail focused. It just changes person to person, not necessarily their sex, which is true because there's a lot of detail oriented people out there where you can, have a perfectionist or something. But then that's where this comment comes in, right? Where a lot of the challenges with females in the industry is being allowed a voice. They get they spend a lot of their days being mansplained to. And
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
you're gonna have to mansplain that
You
one.
have to mansplain that to me.
I don't know
You
about
may,
you. I didn't see a whole lot of women, working out there in the industry in my area when I was coming up. I feel like I see more now in the last like 5 years out there in the field than I have. But do you think that women prefer one aspect of the flooring industry more than the others?
That was a question I was gonna ask. Like,
I absolutely do. I see them more heavily involved on the tile side, on the, the mosaics, the pools, the all the stuff that requires an actual artist to do, I think.
now is that do you think that's because of the structure, right? Like women, um, I don't say women, but I feel like they're going to be looking more for a structure and health coverage and long term for a family, right? Like when guys are like, "Oh, you pay me more, I'm gone. You pay me more, I'm there." And and that's just going from talking with people that I know, not trying to like classify male or female, right? I'm just trying to think outside the box and talk to what I've observed. But I wonder if that's because of the structure that the hard surface provides versus soft surface.
Well, is it the structure or the freedom? Because you see a lot of them, and it's basically they just give them a canvas and they work. I mean, and it's not just females either. I mean, you look at Ken Ballin, he does the same thing, right? It's more of a trust thing, and uh, a name you've built up to where people trust you with just a blank canvas. Go in there and design it. I think a lot of that has to do with the women in there is a lot of the designers that you see working with the architects are females as well. You go into a showroom and you ask for a designer, it's more likely than not that it's going to be a female, and that's where these numbers come in, where it's only 10% of the construction industry is female, but then of that 10%, how many are actually in the field opposed to in a sales position or a designer position. And Elena says that, you know, female students compete in programs are not having doors opened. And I think, um, like, how do they get those doors open for them without because a guy can come in and have an attitude and he's just being a boss, right? But when a female does it, she's being that other word that we're not going to say on air, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be women can be assertive, just as assertive as a man, and come into places and run it. And I know this because my mother's this way. And growing up, the stories that she's told of going into male dominated fields and essentially becoming their boss and people not liking it. And what do they call her? That name. And it's not necessarily that it's just that she was good at what she did.
I don't know about you guys, but to me, it doesn't matter if somebody comes applies for a job. You're right. I'm looking at their past work history, qualifications. I mean, having somebody on site every day is way more important than a lot of other attributes that come in a job interview, right? Having somebody that's going to be there and not call in sick 3 days a week or, you know, um, I'm surprised that women have a hard time getting into this field right now in today's day and age. I mean, every
Right,
person I
because they
talk to is
shouldn't.
looking for somebody that's going to show up every day with a good attitude, right? And that's it. And they're willing to open their pocketbooks for somebody that's just not going to cause them more problems than they add to the positive aspect of job completions.
Right. And Nate says that women are rare in other trades too. He remember seeing a female electrician back in the 80s and she stood out. And I was on a project. This was, we were doing a hospital through COVID and there was a female plumber on there. And it I posted a TikTok. I don't remember if it's still on there or not, but a pipe ended up bursting, right? It was one of the main water lines. And every plumber there, it was like she was the scapegoat. Everyone just blamed it on her automatically. And I don't even know if she was the one that actually worked on that, but it was like anytime you talk to someone, they were like, boom, it was her fault.
That's just sad right there. And it's accountability too, right? Like I'm sure that if it was her fault, if she would probably be the first one to say, "That's my bad," and for that to be everyone's scapegoat, that's sad from any person, male or female. You just accountability is huge, and no wonder why women only make up 10%, and whatever percentage it is in the workforce. No wonder why it's so low.
Oh, your boss right there?
That's my boss. Yeah.
Sorry.
I just recently took a mill tour, and there was a lot more women in the mill than there was men.
I
Huge.
believe it. I mean, it's factory type setting, I'm sure, right? Production line type setting.
Oh, they're
You don't
running. They're
pay
running
attention.
massive machinery.
Hmm.
Some of them on the front lines. I mean, you ever see the video from NFIC? And they're just like
Yep.
throwing that needle, retufting, reweaving yarns into the carpet that were flawed or caught somewhere. It's impressive, man. I mean, quick, quick.
So Elena says that, saying one thing, but when it comes down to it, people have a preference and will hire off that preference. And that's what we talk about all the time is the unconscious bias that people have. whether you say you do or you do not. That's why it's unconscious, right? And there's programs that you can go through to actually realize, or you can just sit back and take a look at yourself in general and realize that you do have unconscious bias, because we all do. But it's
100%.
being able to look past that and being like, you know what? I mean, at this point, we all need someone in the field, right? So it's like, let's hire anyone. We've actually tried to hire a few females before. One of them was like, "Hey, we were like, all right, let's go." She was like, "I'm gonna just drive to the job site in the morning. Can I take these tools with me?" We were like, "Heck yeah, let's go." And then she took our tools and never showed up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Real talk.
That really happened. I was like, wow, I guess we just lost a pouch full of tools and some knee pads, and they were pro knees too.
Yep.
Oh,
Tell you what, Joe Rogan. That's all I can think about. Like, really,
But
what do you get? What do you get a benefit from that? Another time is we found this young lady who appeared to have really great work ethic, but then ended up moving away like the next week. Like, oh, my family's moving to Florida now.
talk about another woman in the industry that's a rock star right here. Why
Yes.
not have a
Yes.
female on the show? Jen, if you want me to send you an invite, I will
I
let
was
you pop on right now. I think this is just something that
I was just going to ask you. This is probably the worst show for me to hop on. Like you should have had. We know so many women in this industry that could just make this episode pop, but I'm sitting here at a standstill. Like, what do I got to say about this? We should ask some
well,
women
we're
about
we're all
that
these
are in the
women.
industry.
Well,
I think we're the cheerleaders for these women, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
And that's rare to see, is guys on the other side saying all these women are better than me. Like when I first met Jen, it was at the first CFI convention we went to, right? And she started talking all this technical stuff, and I was like, she knows her stuff, man. Like she knows more than I do, and she's been rocking it ever since.
She
And
can
Kev,
build some modules, some training
to
modules. She's an all-star.
I want to push back on what you just said. There's no bigger compliment than for your peers to mention you and to talk about you and to build you up, right? Even when they're not being asked. All three of us here know a lot of women in the flooring industry, and we know the things that they have done. And I think from the perspective of what am I doing here is you're here because you know some women in the flooring industry that have made an impact on the industry and on you, and it's up to us to share that information regardless if they're here or they're not.
But I mean, it's Women in Construction Week, it's Women in Construction Month. But not only that, this was a two-parted thing where it's not just being cheerleaders for women, but also shining a light on some diversity and talking about Jorge, Jesus, Jose, everyone that gets on
Oh
the
yeah,
Spanish side of the huddle, to let them know that they have a voice as well, and it's not just women on this episode, and it's kind of been that up until this point. But I do want to say thank you to Jorge and everything that he does, because I can't understand it, so I just have to trust that he's talking about flooring and stuff when he's on the Huddle in Espanol.
I don't
Oh,
know what he's saying, but I mean, it sounds good. I mean, I listen to those shows. I'm not quite sure why because I don't understand the darn thing either. But
I still
seems like
watch the
it
Spanish
flows
channel
pretty
every
good
now and then.
though. It's got good energy.
That's all it is, right? The energy. Um, in Daniel's right as far as minorities, right? It's not just Hispanics, right? It's all across the board minorities. Just um, anyone with an ethnic background that can be traced back to not starting here in the U.S. I guess is really what it amounts to. Or whether it's first generation American or second or third. I mean, everybody started somewhere. Somebody had a vision. Somebody had a dream, and they ended up here, and now they're making a living. And the flooring industry is very inviting to whomever wants to put forth some effort to make a good living.
You know, the nice thing
Yeah.
about flooring is it's not seasonal, right? You know, it's got great design and creativity. It's got an outlet for that, for your art. Um, I mean, I enjoyed it, man. 30 years in this industry now, I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Dang, 30 years, bro. Holy smokes.
We've been in it for almost that long too.
It's a long road.
Kevin, you look younger than I do, so you're all good. And they are mentioning Susie Namba right here too. She's awesome. Every time I see her, she's excited. Just seeing the trainings that they've been doing lately, they've been having some pretty big classes.
Their classes always have some good numbers. They bring a lot to the, you know, a lot to the field, a lot to the table. Between the two of those, the Nambas, man, there's so much knowledge packed in there.
And that's where I talk to CFI and tell them that they need to start announcing what instructors are going to be there. That way people are more apt to sign up. Like if someone knows that, Jen Zern's going to be there, or Susie Namba, John Namba, if Kevin's going to be there, hey, I'm going to go because I
That's
want
a
to meet these people.
that's a good idea. You know, that's a good idea. We'll have to uh, we'll have to throw that out there. Speaking
Well, it
of, we
definitely
got an
makes it.
NFI. We're gonna have an NFIC training coming up. So anybody interested in getting that certification, we're gonna have one coming up down in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Myself, Tony Buckhart. I'm not sure who else is gonna all be there, but that's
When is
gonna be
that
coming
training?
up. We had it scheduled. We had to push it. Um, it'll probably be early spring at some point here, but
Oh,
we'll be
so not
announced
too far out.
not too far out. I think we had it scheduled for the 20th, but it was just way too soon. So we want to
And
allow some more people to get signed up. It's a good location.
uh, look at
Jen, I need that
Jen
date.
needs the
Yeah,
date.
we gotta get that date, but we'll get Jen that date and she can share it with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and the people that are on the fence, if you want to go to this, because I'm not gonna lie, I was on the fence. I was like, I'm probably never gonna be working with any of these materials. And then we go to this class, and then guess what? We get a wool job, and then guess what? I figured out that the last wool job we did not do correctly. So, and you got to kind of got to let yourself know that you don't know everything. And there's a lot of information in these classes, man. Like
You know,
my
if I
can I
can
sew a
say,
seam? Yes. It did it look good the first time? No, I still need practice.
you know, the thing about NFIC class is that even if you don't plan on working with wovens ever, right, or any type of natural fiber, it will strengthen your skills as an installer tenfold just by working with those types of carpeting, right? Um, you know, I never used to sew outside corners. I got that
Hmm.
knowledge. It's a no brainer. Every outside corner should be sewn, right? It looks way better. I would have never known that. And even if I never worked with that type of carpeting again after that class, I still walk away way sharper of an installer with so much knowledge gained
Well,
and the ability to go to, or even have the courage to go take on a job like that after that certification.
right.
So,
And there's been a few times where people got a hold of us, right? And they're like, hey, I got this carpet. They said that I need to go to this list of installers. You guys are the only ones in the area. Can you come do this? Or you get a call like he got not too long ago where, hey, these installers walked off the job. Can you come salvage this mess? And then you go in there and there's all the wrong pad down.
Mhm.
you know, as Nate said too, you know, you get your name and location listed with these big mills, right? That's some of these guys require that certification. And we all know somebody, I'm not going to put his business out there, but just got a pretty big theater, okay, off of just being an NFIC installer in that area, and it's just like domino effect from that job, another job just came. So,
Right, and
It's an
uh,
investment.
it's not just C or NFIC, it's CFI, it's NAFCT,
that's right.
it's
And
NWFA.
WFA,
You're listed on all these sites, man, and then people can actually go find you if they just search for someone in their area. You're going to be the one that they're looking at.
Well, the public is getting a lot smarter, right? They want to make sure that their dollar is not being overlooked, and that there's long term value in their investment. And you don't. There's certain things you don't take your car to any hole in the wall mechanic, right? Like, oh, it's got one Google review. Like, no, you're gonna take it to a reputable mechanic. If you have a transmission issue or something like that, you don't take it anywhere, right? You do a little bit of research and make sure that you're going to someone who's reputable, who's got a good track record, and who's got the accolades that shows that they put the work into their craft. You don't take it to Jose on the weekend. Hey, I can do a transmission. I
that's
can't.
right.
I can, but I'm not going to do it right. I messed up the linkage on the first one I ever did by myself.
Well, but yeah, I mean, there's value in it for sure. I mean, I know you guys preach that every week, but
Yeah,
you
and I
know,
mean, wouldn't it be awesome, Jen? I know you're listening, to get an all female certification going for like CFI or NFIC and doing the same thing that they're doing on the tile side. That would be amazing. But how do we
all
draw in people? Because a lot of the like we had a couple come in last week and talk to us, and it was, there was a language barrier, so it kind of covers, the minorities and the women, right? Because she was translating. He didn't speak much English. Well, he knows English. He just doesn't like to speak it because he probably thinks it sounds
Right.
funny the same way I don't want to speak Spanish. But it's like there's a lot there, but they just don't know where to go. So how can we make it more comfortable for them to get there? And I told him, I said, you should never feel embarrassed because you don't speak a language. You should still be in there trying to see where you can fit in, because even though I don't speak Spanish, I'm still willing to work with you, because that's every every industry needs them workers right now. We gotta make it so that way everyone seems comfortable coming in and just talking regardless of their background or their sex. Just come on, we need you. Let's get in here and do it. Especially on the certification side, because I mean, we all see it. We're all in it. How we could have way more instructors out there even, and still not teach enough people to be comfortable within our lifetime, I think. Certified mechanic working on your vehicle. Who do you want working on your floor? If you look around Facebook, they just want the cheapest person.
Yeah, that's Facebook though.
They may try and hold an all women technical certification at convention.
needs to be
That
taught by all women certifiers.
Yep. Jen, Susie, Crystal. Let's get everyone in there.
I think it would be way smarter to hold it before the convention. That way you can attract more people to the convention. Bring awareness to the convention by hosting it prior to. Don't use it as a gimmick to bring people to the convention, right? Do it prior to. Then you'll get more traction for the convention.
Right, because I mean, Jose Molar has been traveling around, and Jesus, doing the Spanish side of things, which is awesome because, just like the Huddle, they seen that need as well, right? Where it's like they're here already. Let's just cater to them, and then that'll get them over here. And it's like it's just that language barrier. They feel uncomfortable, so they don't even want to ask someone about it. And then the carpet guys in Michigan is having another 5 week in April. She's bringing a young lady to the class that helped on a job recently, and that's awesome.
Very
Yes,
nice.
it is. Now, for that class, that 5 week class, are there any type of programs that help offset the expenses for that?
I believe that's where FCEF comes in, the Floor Covering Education Foundation.
I believe you are correct.
So she already completed welder school, had no idea about flooring was an option. She would have saw it first. I mean,
You don't know what's out there until you come across it. So maybe we got to do better as an industry for advocating for our industry and maybe getting the word out, making sure that everything's intentional.
and I think like this group here that we've got, Kevin does a good job on his end and on drawing people in, and we try and do that on our end. There's Wi-Fi scholarships for women, and there is a lot of avenues out there. It's just how do we as a trade get a seat at the table with everyone else that had, when they think about getting into a trade, their brain automatically goes to someone who kind of is certified, right? I mean, you're looking at electrician, plumber. Um, they don't necessarily think flooring until you tell them that's what you do.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I stumbled into this. You know, most guys. I took a what was it? It was like there was some type of evaluation at one of these shows, and they said it was such an outrageous number of people that are in this industry are because of family. So whether it's like the
Well,
dad was in the flooring business, brother, whatever. I mean, when I heard that number, I said, "There's no way, right? Whoever did this must have calculated this wrong because it was such an astronomical number." But it's family, right? It's family. Um,
well, it's one of those trades where, like you said, you stumble on it, right? But then it's an inside secret. You can make really good money in this profession in the flooring industry. It's just might be a little bit harder than what most people are willing to do, but it is very gratifying at the end of the day.
right
but
now,
you know, I think the problem lies in the fact that there was flooring installers didn't make a whole lot of money compared to some of these other trades, right? At one time, I'm not saying that's the same today. I think that's changed quite a bit. But years ago, trying to get people turned on to this industry, if I'm telling a young guy, hey, you can carry this roll of carpet up the stairs and I'm going to pay you $5 an hour, let's say, and the electrician guy that's carrying what I'm visioning is like a roll of wire and a screwdriver in to switch out stuff, and he's getting paid $10 an hour. That's how I saw it. I mean, when I first got in this industry, I felt like I felt like I was getting punished for something. I'm like, why? I'm sitting. What am I doing here? But till I got educated about what the flooring industry has to offer, and there's so many different avenues and paths you can take in this industry, that once I found that out, it's like it was great. But trying to get the word out for sure to get these guys in there. That's the problem.
well, it's
Trying to
that,
find
and
organizations like Build My Future. What other chance do you have to speak to 4,000 students ready to make that decision in their life of what direction they're gonna go?
right,
We got.
and I mean just the progression of actually getting somewhere in the industry, I think is where we're lacking because there's no clear guidance from you're going to start here. If you learn this in 6 months, this is what you're going to do, and then you're going to bump up, and then another 6 months, and that's what we talked about when we had my electrician friend on here, and that's kind of what they have. It's like every 6 months they hit a milestone, and they actually have to take a test and prove that they know what they're doing in order to move on to that next step. And that's kind of what we're missing on this side. And I think that's where, Paul is trying to bridge that gap with Go Carrera and actually, the rating system where it's all right, this is where you're starting, and then you have to progress, and doing these different certifications and trainings is how you get there. And I mean, all of us are kind of examples of that, right? Because we didn't just sit back and be like, "Oh, I know enough. I'm going to just keep on coasting." It was that thirst for more knowledge and saying, "What don't I know? Where can I move to?" I mean, just
Absolutely.
just look at yourself, Kevin. I mean, you're in a pretty good spot over there at QEP, and congratulations on everything you've done, man. I mean,
Thank
a
you.
lot of people don't just look at you and be like, you used to be an installer and stuff like that. They're like, hey, this guy's over here running stuff. So, I mean, kudos to you for being in the position you're in and actually taking it as far as you have, because I don't think a lot of people come into the industry thinking that that's where they'll land eventually. I don't know if you did or not. Can you just kind of go, we never even really, you've been on before, but can you kind of give us where you're at right now and how you got there just real quick?
Yeah. So I'm the director of technical services for QEP and Roberts now. Going on my 7th year with them. Started off flooring, laying carpet for a high-end carpet installation house. Um, Basically, as a teenager, and just got introduced to CFI. Actually, um, got introduced to Mr. Walker through Karastan. That was my first certification. We were laying a lot of Karastan. My boss was really wanted to be known as the best around, and so he wanted his guys to be top notch. So he started sending us to everything he could, CRI, Karastan. We got into CFI early. Um, Met Jerry Miller, guys like that. Motivated me in different ways, whether it had been failing me on something I didn't do properly or didn't know at the time, and pushed me harder to come back, or just being there and being a role model kept pushing me, right? And if you work hard at something and you gain that knowledge and you put the time in, and good things are going to come out of it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I knew probably in my late 20s that I kind of had started figuring out the flooring industry and how much money was there out there to be made and how to make it, and the tools I needed to go out and acquire to do so. And you got to market yourself too, right? Just because you're doing all this stuff on the sideline, if you're not selling it, right? If you're not selling the fact that you went out there and achieved this or got that, well, how are you going to ever make money, or how are you going to let people know that you're qualified, or and have all this knowledge and certifications to back it up? You got to be able to market that a little bit. Um, I think I did that pretty well coming up. So, there's a lot of opportunities out there. I mean, this is multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Everywhere there is floors. There's jobs of every shape and fashion in this industry. So
Mhm.
you really find something you enjoy. I mean, there's something in there. There's that many jobs. There's something in there, and there's great jobs for people that have gone out and put the work in and have that knowledge, and then the real life experience to back it up. That's priceless, right? Time's the most valuable thing you have, and that's what you dedicated this industry to. So yeah,
Oh, lost Daniel.
that's all right.
He'll probably be
I
back in
must
a
have
second.
been boring them.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. There's more than just installing and sales in a flooring store
Oh,
in this
there's
industry.
sales, there's manufacturing,
Right.
there's design, there's management, there's HR, I mean, there is so many different avenues you can take in this industry. Um, you know, I'd point anybody at the flooring industry for a way of, you know, finances throughout their life for sure.
Yeah,
And
100%. And I think to because I know we're running out of time here. We're over a little bit, but the the flooring industry has a lot to offer, no matter what walk of life you are, male, female, whatever pronouns you go by. There is if you want to be creative, if you want to have structure, if you want to have freedom, there's a spot for you in the industry somewhere, and we just got to figure out a way to showcase that. And it's going to be it is a long journey. I know that the journey started years ago, but in order for to bring awareness, we all got to work together and see what we can do to uplift and everybody do just a small part. Really, all it's going to take. Sounds simple.
It is simple, right?
And well, it sounds simple but not easy.
There's nothing easy.
Yeah,
What's that saying? You can have three things. You can have it fast. You can have it cheap, or you can have it good. But you can't. You can have two of them, but not all three of them.
yeah,
If it's good, if it's cheap and it's good, it's not going to be fast. If it's fast and it's cheap, it's not going to be good. Same
yeah.
thing. Um, but no, I mean it's a journey. You got to work at something every day to get somewhere. But nice thing about the flooring industry, there's so many opportunities out there. You just got to keep pushing forward.
It's you got to keep on learning, man. That's the only way to put it. It's
It
if you're
never
not
it never
learning,
stops, man. I
yeah.
learned something so cool last week. I've been itching to I came home and I got carpet out and started messing with it because I wanted to have this down, right? But I saw it from Kenny Miles taught me something, and man, unbelievable! It's so cool, right? I'm like, it was his technique that he came up with years ago. Been using it for years. I've never seen it anywhere, right? But that's the kind of stuff it gets you excited. That takes you to the next level, right? Now I know I can do something that probably most people never even saw.
Right. And I mean, I'm the same way. I was at a doing a certification in Ohio, and one of the guys in there was like, "Oh, tilt my tip this way when I'm welding corners." And then the next time I was welding a corner, I was like, "I'm gonna try that," and I'll never go back.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
never.
learning something new every single day, making sure that you got to be humble and know that you don't know everything, right?
Those guys that come to your class that say, I know everything. I've been doing this for 40 years. My company's forcing me to be here. Man, those guys are done, right? It's that kid that's just showing up every day, half hour early, just eager, asking to use something or asking to do something different. Those are the guys, man, I get excited about, right? Those are the guys I want, or women, right? Either or. It's the attitude. It's that desire to succeed and strive for excellence.
Right.
That's what it's
So
about.
thanks for coming on with us today, Kevin. I know we probably should have got a female or minority on here. I mean, we are minority, so
I just felt bad for you since Paul wasn't there. I was like, I
I
just
know we
wanted to
need
be a
someone to
friend,
talk
and
to.
I didn't know what we were talking about. I just hopped
We
on.
we needed a white guy on here to be the minority on the podcast.
Hey, hey,
And Ashlyn says
always glad to
that
help.
she's a minority and a female, and she's still not gonna get on here. So thanks, Ashlyn.
All right,
But
guys,
no,
thanks for having me.
yeah, we appreciate you. Robert's QEP, in the house all the time, and we just like Robin said, shout out to all the ladies in the industry, um, from the installers to the office staff. There's no nothing that we can do to thank you more than what we already did. I mean, I probably could, but
There's
you
no
know,
denying that without you guys helping, we couldn't do what we do.
right? And the shout outs that we had earlier, we had Jen Zern, Elena on here. We talked about, Leslie, how huge she is, Crystal, Beth Miller, Susie Namba. It's just the list goes on and on. And then, Jorge, Jesus, Jose for, putting up with us and doing the Spanish huddle. And uh, it's just getting everyone's voice out there. Everyone's a huge part of the industry. And whether you know it or not, just keep on doing what you do because people are watching and people love seeing what's going on. And and keeping the diversity into the workforce, because I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I mean, there's so many diverse people in the industry. We just want to cater to everyone. So if you like our content, make sure you're subscribing, you're sharing. We just want to get the word out there, and we thank everyone for being a part of this. It's not just us up
Appreciate
here
it.
talking. It's a collective. Without you guys, we'd be nothing.
We're also listening, guys. We're also listening. So yeah, like
That's right.
if there's anything you guys feel that we need to talk about, or any issues that need to be addressed, by all means, drop us a line.
And if you
All right.
need
Thanks
anything
again,
from
gentlemen.
Roberts and QEP, hit Kevin up. He said that he'll give you a discount. We don't know what percentage yet, but
That's right. That's right.
it might be zero, but at least it's something. At least you get to talk to Kevin.
You get my time. How about that?
Hey, that's all someone needs sometimes, but we definitely appreciate it. Thanks for
Thanks for
coming
the
on again.
support. And
And
remember, Robert's QEP, leader of, helping education out, man. We do this because we're trying to help the industry. So take advantage, get out there. I don't care who it's with, get out there, push forward, succeed.
that's why we say forward progress, man. It's right in it's our tagline. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next